Welcome back to Catch and Cook. It's been like 3 months since my last video, so hopefully it's been worth the wait. Let's just get right into it. Firstly, as a recap, I discussed the cooking minigames in the last video. Since then, I've also added slicing as a minigame. It's pretty similar to Cooking Mama's version of slicing. The straighter and more consistent the cuts, the higher the grade and quality of the food. Once you've sliced the food enough, instead of being considered, let's say, a whole chicken breast, it will now be considered sliced to the customers. So just like in the recipe creator, it affects the flavors and texture. When you release the mouse button, I pretty much just make a duplicate mesh where the plane of the knife is, and that creates the two slices. That's pretty much it for the cooking scene updates, but now, let me show you what I've been doing for 3 months. Alright, firstly, I hate UI, and I hate making it. I'm a believer that the majority of game interfaces should be physical, like no disconnections. I see UI inside of games as being disruptive, and especially with survival and simulator games. So when I faced the problem of how is the player going to buy new goods for the restaurant, I knew I wanted something physical, something that was in the game. Like an actual store you'd go to, or maybe something along those lines. That's when I thought of the awesome store from The Amazing World of Gumball. So he's just this character that sells seemingly endless items with his van, so I put that idea in the game as the player's only means to getting new appliances, furniture, decorations, and other things. So every day you return to your restaurant, this van will offer new goods. It's semi-random, it's based on your restaurant's level and the van's level, and these levels dictate what quality items are given out. So the more you buy, the higher the level of the van, and as the van's level increases, it actually increases how many items he'll sell to you. So as you can see here, a new storefront column is made for each new level. This means that as you expand your restaurant and end up buying more and more goods, it actually becomes easier to fill up the space because he'll begin selling more things to you. Now initially this idea sounds pretty rough because the player really has no concrete way of getting an exact item. That's why I decided to add 3 systems that will help alleviate this problem. So firstly, when you view a new selection, you'll be able to lock up to 3 items for the next visit. Now items can only be locked once, so it gives you a motive to make a little more money to grab the item you want. But this means that the very next time the van comes in, those 3 items will still be there. In addition to locking items, once the van is leveled up enough, you'll be granted the ability to request a single item every day. On the next visit, this item will be there, but it will be at an increased price because you had to request it. And lastly, the van is going to remember what you've purchased and what you placed down in your restaurant. This means that as you progress in the game, I can enable the van to give you items that are direct upgrades or things that are related to what you're currently using. So the van will at least give you some items that correlate with what you're trying to go for. Anyways, this shop has this pull-out animation with the items, and you can rotate between appliances, furniture, and decorations. When you go to purchase an item, a price tag will pop up over the item, and this displays some useful information about it, like the temperature if it's an appliance, its name, the price, and etc. When an item is currently being selected, the shopkeeper puts his hand out with a coin, and this is how you will pay him. After you purchase that item, it is loaded into the world scene, and you're able to place it somewhere in your restaurant. So let me show you how the furnishing system works for your restaurant. So when you click an item, you'll pick it up and you're now able to drag it around and place it back down. You're not able to place it inside of another item or outside your restaurant's bounds, but you can rotate them and you can snap them to the floor tile grid. When you're placing an appliance or piece of furniture down, a special system will activate. The orientation of furniture and appliances actually matters. I had to create a system that allows the front end of those items to be accessible. So when you're holding an item that needs front end clearance, raycast will point outwards based on the range/FOV of that item. So if you can access an appliance from 10 units away, that appliance will need 10 units of frontal clearance when being placed. This system remains active for already placed items too. You're not able to place an item down if there's an item somewhere that is currently blocked. You can also sell or stash an item. When you stash an item, it goes to your restaurant's inventory to be placed or sold later. This is sadly an aspect that needs on-screen UI. So I designed this blueprint-esque UI for the inventory. It's bare bones right now, I don't need it to be beautiful UI yet, it functions as it is. So you're able to scroll through the stash and replace items that you've stored in there. Now if you've noticed, there's another button on this UI, the hammer. This is where you'll expand your restaurant. When you open the menu, there is a wall button and a floor button. Selecting these buttons is what the foundational piece of your restaurant you want to place. As of right now, I have not implemented the choice to place interior walls. That's a little more complicated. But when you select the floor button, you can now place down foundations. This is locked to a grid, and the grid being 12 by 12 pixels. This matches the standard sizing of furniture, appliances, and other decorations, so the interior will always snap to the sizes of items and stuff. Each tile will cost a specific amount of money, getting increasingly more expensive as you expand outwards. Now when you begin placing tiles, I didn't want a system where you had to choose corner tiles and all that other stuff, so I made this auto tiling system to create seamless floors. When you place a tile down, it analyzes its surrounding tiles to determine its texture. I do this with what's called bit masking. Each tile's surrounding direction is assigned a value. When a tile is occupied, this value is added to the other occupied tile's values. This value sum is how I determine which texture to use for the tile. This ends up representing a value between 0 and 256. Now, what's good about this system is that I don't need to create 256 textures for each variation. There are actually only 48 unique tiles, and a lot of instances are rotated variations or duplicates. There's a deeper check needed for the corners though, and here's the example. These 4 corner tiles don't change the outcome of the middle tile, the placed one, but if you were to do the binary check on the tiles though, it would give you an outcome for a texture that isn't correct, that texture being the middle one. This is where the deeper corner check comes in. Every time a corner tile is checked, its cardinal directions, depending on its placement, are also checked. If the northwest tile is being checked, its local south and east tiles are checked for occupation. If both of those tiles are occupied, this corner tile is now officially taken into account for the tile's sum value. When one or no tiles are occupied, that corner is disregarded for the check. And you just loop over this for each of the 4 corners. Now this system allows me to put unique trims or textures on the floor and create a nice seamless look. This means it will be extremely easy for people to create their own floor textures in a third-party software if they want to. This also means that you'll be able to buy new floor textures in the shop and apply them. Now with this system already in place, it was actually really easy to apply to the exterior walls of the restaurant as well. They just use whatever data the tile beneath them has. So as you place or remove tiles, it updates the walls and the surrounding tiles around them. I wanted people to have complete freedom over the shape and design of the restaurant, so this is why it took a little bit longer to implement these ideas, because I had to go all out. But I'm really hoping you guys will enjoy it, because I think this will allow for a lot of creative freedom for designing your restaurant. There is one rule though, you cannot have floors that are only 1 tile wide. They have to be at least 2 by 2. Now this is for the game's sake. It's to ensure that customers will be able to move around freely and you'll always be able to access your appliances. So as of right now, you will not be able to exit the restaurant building menu until the restaurant layout is valid. This means no blocked appliances, no blocked furniture, and all the walls have to be wide enough for the customers to go through. Now this is also why I decided on giving you the ability to create your own interior walls, so you can separate these spaces out and create sections more easily. Now sadly, that pretty much wraps up the majority of the content for the restaurant builder. So I hope this video was worth the wait, and I'll see you guys in the next one, and hopefully it won't be 3 months this time.